الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين والنعم الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. Continuing with what we started a few nights ago. As I said before, what we're doing these nights is that we are trying to get an understanding of what Imam Hussein had in mind when he did what he did. What he did being getting up from Medina, leaving Medina and going all the way to Karbala, to figure out and to understand what a person like him, when they do what they do, has in mind. The best thing to do, of course, which makes sense, is to see what they said along the way. If someone is embarking on a journey and has a goal, a lofty goal in mind, it's not like they're going to keep silent and just do what they need to do. They will use as much media as they can to get the word out. Now, of course, back then the media wasn't the way it was today. Back then, the least one could do was at least speak up, speak out, let the world know. Why is Hussein leaving Medina? What's going on? What are you after, Hussein? Tell us. Imam Hussein seized every opportunity to relay what he had in mind. Because, as I said before, today people are doing things in the name of Imam Hussein, but the way they do it, sometimes you feel like it doesn't match with what he had in mind. I've given examples on previous nights. I don't want to get into them again. Moving on to some of the other things that Imam Hussein says, some of the most historical things that he said. I want to give some context. Some of the things you've heard already, because they're famous sayings. We're just trying to put them all in one basket, though, these nights, and look at everything, see what key terms we can get out of what he has said. What did he say to Salam? What did he say to his brother? What did he say to his cousin? All of these things will give us an understanding of what he was after. Because till today, people are trying to figure out what he had in mind. There is a big difference of opinion among scholars. That what was he exactly after? Was he after a political revolution to overthrow Yazid? Some might believe that was the case, and that was the sole reason for what he did. But the question is, if that's all he had in mind, then why did he take his women and children with him? Some will say he wanted to become Shaheed. If that's the case, they will bring answers to refute. He was after doing something so that the sins of the Shia can be forgiven on the Day of Judgment. There will be refutations to that as well. No matter how much you look, you can't figure out exactly what was it. You can't put your finger on exactly one thing, which pushes you to the point where you feel like maybe there were a lot of things he had in mind. All of the above. Now that itself is a whole series maybe. I don't want to get into that. The least is that our guys, our people, our youth growing up, you guys are getting involved in whatever is happening around you more and more. We have to keep those principles in mind. One of those that I covered before, or I didn't say it, Imam Hussein did, is that when he went to the Prophet's grave, he said, "Oh Allah, bear witness that I'm doing what I'm doing. I am serving humanity. I am serving Islam, but at the same time, I'm making sure that I uhibbul ma'ruf wa unkirul munkar." Some of us, we will try to serve people, which is wonderful, as I said, in the name of Imam Hussein, even better. But then we are crossing certain lines of ma'ruf and munkar ourselves in the process. That's not how it works. We can't serve humanity and then do a disservice to ourselves in the process. I had this friend once, years ago, he was many, many years ago, in Qom. He wasn't a Hawza student, of course. He said, if the choice was given to me to go to Jahannam, but in return everyone could go to Jannah, I would take up that offer. I would make that sacrifice. And then I just laughed. I said, apparently you're not reading Quran, because the Quran talks about this. The Quran says, on the Day of Judgment, each person is willing to sacrifice everybody so that they don't go. You're saying the exact opposite of the Quran. Yeah? Disserving myself so that I can serve humanity doesn't work. Imam Hussein, he's starting his movement, but he says, "Oh Allah, bear witness, أني أحب المعروف وأنكر المنكر. I have problems with whatever you have made haram. So these are things that we want to be careful about as well. Now let's move on to two of the dialogues that he has with his brother Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Those of you who have seen the Mukhtar movie, probably many of us have seen it. The Mukhtar movie really revolves around this character of Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah. Of course, Mukhtar is the main guy and a few others, but one of the main people, one of the main characters of this movie is Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah. Whatever they want to do, Mukhtar wants to do, he goes to Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah and gets permission. That itself is a story we don't want to get into, but point being, Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah was very important in his time. He was the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib and daughter of someone other than Fatima al-Zahra. He is the brother of Imam al-Hassan, Imam Hussein. He is. They have the same father, but their mothers are different. That's why he's referred to as Muhammad, son of Hanafiyyah, the lady from the Bani Hanifa tribe. Okay? To put a distinction between him and the other brothers who were the sons of Fatima al-Zahra. Now someone might ask, why a distinction? Is it that important? In order to illustrate that it is important, one. And two, to show us that Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah cared for his brothers so much, I want to share his story with you. And then we're going to get to the actual dialogue of Imam Hussein while he's leaving Medina, between his dialogue between him and his brother Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah. So we have two brothers. Imam al-Hassan has become Shaheed. There are two brothers left. Same father, different mother. And a dialogue is going to happen between them. Does he love Imam al-Hussein? Well, let's look at this story and see what he says. What happens in this story? It says that in the battle of Siffin, the battle of Siffin that all of you have heard about, Imam Ali sends his son Muhammad. Now Muhammad's like, I don't know how many years younger than Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. He's much younger. He sends Muhammad bin Hanafiyyah, who's a warrior, he sends him to go to and attack with a bunch of soldiers the right side of the army of Muawiyah. He goes, messes up their lines, breaks their lines, comes back. He comes back to his father, he says, Al-Atash, I'm thirsty. He says his father gives him some water, Imam Ali. Think about it. How lucky one can be that Imam Ali gives them, quenches their thirst. Imam Ali quenches his thirst and pours water on his body as well, because when you go, I said this in Dearborn too, when you go and fight in those times, it wasn't like you just go, you kill the bad guys and you come back and nothing's wrong with you, you're perfectly fine. Back then, to be able to damage and inflict damage, you would get damaged yourself. It was just about who inflicts more damage, or else you would get hurt too. You would get cut far away and you're perfectly fine. No, it wasn't like that back then. When your fighting was for real. Even today, like in real wars today, they shoot from far away. You don't even see the person that you probably shot and killed ever. Back then, it was eye to eye. You were looking at each other. Anyway, Muhammad breaks the lines, comes back, quenches his thirst. Imam Ali is pouring water on his armor. It says that blood clots were coming out of the links of this armor because he had sustained cuts and injuries and stuff. And so he's tired. It says Imam Ali let him rest a little bit and he said, okay, now go and attack the left side. So he goes again, attacks from the left side with a group of soldiers, breaks those lines through, comes back. Again, he's thirsty. Imam Ali, same thing. Lets him rest, sends him the third time. This poor guy is exhausted. Exhausted. Third time, this time he says, go through the middle, the heart of the enemy. And Muhammad goes, fights, comes back. Now this is the part that I want to read off of. After he comes back and he's victorious again, it says he came back, وَقَدْ أَثْقَلَتْهُ الْجِرَاحَاتِ, the cuts and injuries, and he's crying. وَهُوَ يَبْكِي. So Imam Ali, it says, gets up, kisses him in the forehead, and says, what's wrong? You made me happy with what you did. What's wrong? Why is it out of wrong? You should be happy. I'm happy. You made me happy. You know what Muhammad says? He says, كيف لا أبكي? How can I not cry? وقد عرضتني للموت 3 مرات. You sent me to death 3 times. How can I not cry? Like, it's as if, like, are you trying to kill me? That kind of thing. That's not what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's saying عرضتني للموت. That means you put me in the face of death 3 times. So he's worried, like, what's wrong? Okay, Muhammad, why are you so offended though? This is war, this is battle. Yeah, it's battle, but there's a big but here. What? هذان أخوايا الحسن والحسين. I have 2 brothers, Al-Hasan and Hussein here. How come you didn't send them? You sent me. You keep sending me again. I'm exhausted. You keep sending me. Look at what Amir al-Mu'minin says. And look at what Muhammad says after. He says, it says that Imam Ali first kissed his head again. وَقَالْ يَا بُنَيْ أَنْتَ إِبْنِي. My son, you are my son. I send you to the battlefield because you're my son. We learned this from Imam Hussein too. When it was the time for Bani Hashim to go, who did he send first? His own son. Ali al-Akbar. That's how Islam works. Here, it says, you are my son, while these 2 are the sons of Rasulullah. I can't just send them. I have to protect them as much as I can. Imama is going through them. Imama. I want to say something on the side here. And I didn't say this in the other lecture. I'm going to share it here. I feel like you guys know a little bit about the Battle of Siffin. What happened was in Battle of Siffin, the Khawarij got in the way of Amir al-Mu'minin finishing the job of Muawiyah. Till today we wouldn't have any problems, brothers and sisters, if he had finished the job of Muawiyah in Siffin. If he had gotten rid of Muawiyah in Siffin, we wouldn't have ISIS today. Everyone would be united. We don't have problems. Allama Tabatabai, I read from him once, he says, I do la'nat on Muawiyah after every namaz. Because all the problems of the Muslim ummah owe to him. And he's the mastermind behind everything that came upon us. Now, of course, back then the media wasn't the way it was today. Someone might say, but the first, second, third ones. The Khilafah was taken in Saqifa. It was taken away from Amir al-Mu'mineen. That was the main problem. That is the main problem. True. But when you have Amir al-Mu'mineen still alive, and then those first 3 Khalifas leave this world, Imam Ali comes to power. Imam Ali tells you, hey, I got this. I'll fix everything up. Don't worry. It was only after Muawiyah started and Battle of Jamal, Battle of Siffin took place, Imam Ali said, I can't do anything anymore. I can't fix the past. I can't undo the mistakes that were made in the past and the innovations that were introduced into the religion. Why? Because I'm too busy fighting Siffin. Muawiyah got in the way. All the problems are from him. Or else, yes, Imam Ali had problems with the first 3, but he could have fixed that up again if they had allowed him. And then the Khawarij hadn't killed him. Let's go back to what I was talking about though. Battle of Siffin, Imam Ali was this close to getting rid of Muawiyah. The Khawarij surrounded Imam Ali. They said, wait a minute, you're going to kill him? He believes in the Quran. Look, they put the Qurans up showing us that they believe in the Quran. We thought we're fighting people that don't believe in the Quran. But they're putting the Qurans up showing us that they also believe in the Quran and they want the Quran to be the judge between us and them. You have to concede. Imam Ali said, what are you talking about? This is just a game they're playing. They surrounded Imam Ali. Now here, they said, we're going to kill you. Imam Ali, unless you tell Malik al-Ashtar to come back and not kill Muawiyah. Muawiyah was this close to being killed by Malik al-Ashtar. Imam Ali eventually told Malik al-Ashtar to retreat. Sometimes brothers and sisters will ask, why? Why did Malik al-Ashtar himself had this question? If Muawiyah is the biggest problem, O Ali, let the Khawarij kill you. We have Imam al-Hasan after you, we have Imam al-Hussein after you. Let them kill you, sacrifice your life, but let us kill Muawiyah too. Okay? This is all in parentheses I'm saying. We're going to get back to the story. This is important. I'm adding this to give even more context. Imam Ali, you're all about, you slept in the place of the Prophet. It's not about your life ever for you. It's never been about your life. It's about Islam. Islam will be destroyed if Muawiyah is not destroyed. So maybe you should have allowed them to attack you. They say 20,000 of these Khawarij surrounded Imam Ali. There's no way out. Let them take your life. This is a big sacrifice, but let Malik al-Ashtar, instead of telling him to retreat so you can spare your life, tell him to finish the job. Don't worry about me. I'll go, but Muawiyah will go too. And the rest the Imams can take care of after me. You know what Amir al-Mu'mineen's answer was? I'm saying all of this so we can understand this line that I just covered in this story of Muhammad bin Hanafiya going and attacking 3 times. And then Imam Ali telling him, I have to protect them because they're the sons of Rasulullah. I'm trying to explain this with this story of Siffin that I'm sharing with you right now. You know what Imam Ali says in Nahjul Balagha? He says, like, I could care less about my life when those 20,000 surrounded me. And I could have let Malik al-Ashtar finish the job of Muawiyah, but this is the important part. This solved a lot of problems for me personally when I read this once. And these are questions we have. He says, I was willing to give up my life and let Muawiyah die too. But I noticed that Al-Hasan and Al-Hussein are going to come to my help and my aid and my protection, and they will also be killed. And if that happens, Imamat is cut off. And I'm not allowed to let that happen. So it's not Ali ibn Abi Talib trying to preserve his own life here. He's trying to preserve Islam so you and I can sit here today. Imamat runs through them. They're going to come fight too when the Khawarij attack me. Or else, if that wasn't the case, it seems that Imam Ali would have given his life. For that, he would have paid that price so that Muawiyah can also go. It's not coming back to this. When Imam Ali tells Muhammad bin Hanafiya, Muhammad, you're my son. That's why I send you to the heart of the enemy. But I'm not going to send Al-Hasan and Hussein because I have to preserve them. Of course, we all know in the Battle of Siffin, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were also involved. Imam Ali is making an interesting point here though, that if there's going to be a great risk, I'm going to send you, not them. What does Muhammad say in return? Muhammad bin Hanafiya, he says, Father, that is the right thing. Thank you. And may I be sacrificed for you and for them. So he has this understanding, he has this love. So this is Muhammad bin Hanafiya. I just thought I'd share this with you so we know how much he loved his brothers. Now, Imam Hussein is getting ready to leave Medina for Karbala. Muhammad bin Hanafiya comes to him. Of course, he wants the best for his brother. So he's going to start suggesting things to him. You see, him, Salama, the one that I covered the other night, they love Imam Hussein, but apparently they don't know the whole grand scheme and plan that Allah has in mind with Karbala and Ashura. So they will give suggestions that don't read with, sometimes won't read with that goal that Imam Hussein has in mind. Muhammad bin Hanafiya, he says, oh brother, 1, you are the most beloved of all people. 2, they're after you. They want to take your life. Don't reside in any particular place. Just keep moving around across the Islamic empire and lands and sending representatives out, gathering followers, gathering people who give you bay'ah, so that you can gather some strength and then you can oppose Yazid. If you go and stay somewhere, you might get killed. You see, this is how, just to show how low the Muslim Ummah has gone, that a person like Hussein, alayhi salam, has no choice to wander like the deserts. I don't know if you guys have heard this story or not, that one of the Bani Israel, or the Yahud of that time, they were scolding those later Khalifas and telling them that, what is wrong with you? You killed the son of the daughter of your prophet, while we have like a descendant of like Prophet Yusuf, who has like 70 grandfathers between him and actually Prophet Yusuf. And we revere this person so much. You killed the son of the daughter of your prophet. This is how low the Muslim Ummah has gone. Slowly it happened. Slowly. Before you know it, brothers and sisters, all of a sudden, we are waving the flag of something or somebody or some place that we're not supposed to be waving. And we're doing it in the name of Imam Hussein. Wow. Slowly it happens though. Slowly some values are embraced. Some values are accepted. Have we really looked into it? Bounced it off of the principles of Islam first? Or certain things just sound nice to us? and they just make sense, and this is the Islam that I believe in. It gets hard. This is how low the Muslims of that time had gone, that the son of the daughter of the Prophet has to wander the deserts. This is the solution that's given to him. What does Imam Hussein say? He says, okay, you're telling me not to go anywhere and stay anywhere, but like, what should I do? Where do you think I should end up? He doesn't tell him, hey, I know what I'm doing. You know, this is also something that we can take away from this. Imam Hussein knows what he's supposed to do. Come on. He knows where he's supposed to go. Where he has more followers. Does he say that to Muhammad bin Hanafiya's brother? Tell him, hey, who are you talking to, man? Like, look at me. I'm your imam. I am your imam. You're telling me what to do. No, he actually sits down and says, what do you think I should do? He respects him. Sometimes people come up to you with like the dumbest suggestions. But Islam will teach us that, hey, respect. Hear that person out. Don't break their heart. As a matter of fact, because of your patience and listening to the nonsense sometimes, as some people say, a barakah and a blessing will come somewhere else and help you out when you're about to make a big mistake and look stupid. It's just beautiful how Islam works. What goes around comes around type of thing. Now here, Imam hears him. He says, where do you think I should go? Muhammad says, I think you should go to Mecca. And if it's not safe, go from there to somewhere else until you can figure out what you need to do and make the right decision. Now here, Imam Hussein, and I made this point over there too, it's very important. Imam Hussein here says something totally irrelevant, almost, to what Muhammad bin Hanafiya is saying. It's as if Imam Hussein is programmed. Is programmed. Now, hear me out what I want to say here. That all he cares about is that he makes sure he doesn't make the wrong move that will entail the dissatisfaction of his Lord. He doesn't care about the people. What is his answer to Muhammad bin Hanafiya? He goes into this mode. Muhammad bin Hanafiya is saying, hey, go to Mecca, go to Medina, go here, go there, whatever, be careful, send a representative. He says, oh my brother, if there is no safe haven and place of refuge for me, I will not give my allegiance to Yazid bin Muawiyah. Muhammad bin Hanafiya didn't ask you to give bay'ah to Yazid bin Muawiyah. He didn't tell you to hold the flag of Yazid bin Muawiyah. He didn't tell you that. Of course he's not going to tell you that. That's why he's telling you to go here or there to preserve your life. And then you go back again to the basics. We already know the basics. Sometimes we know the basics. We don't act upon them though. He's letting the world know that this is what I was all about. Allah's satisfaction. The first step that I have to take in my movement is I'm not going to give bay'ah to Yazid. I'm just going to keep repeating that. He goes into this mode, this servitude and abd mode, Imam Hussein. He keeps going back to that mode. Muhammad bin Hanafiya didn't want that from you, Imam Hussein. That's a given that you're not going to give bay'ah. So Imam Hussein says this. Muhammad feels like, oh no, Imam Hussein, he knows what he's doing, and apparently there's a lofty goal involved. That's why he just went into some other world all of a sudden. When I'm telling him what to do, what not to do, he says something that's I didn't even ask him to do. So Muhammad feels like, hey, this is the end. Imam Hussein is set for something that it doesn't look too good. And so they say he starts weeping. Tears start running down his face. And it's as if the Imam notices this. So he comes out of that mode that he had gone into. You know, makes him feel a little better. He says, thank you for your advice. May Allah reward you the best of rewards. Indeed, you gave good advice and appointed to what is right. I have made my decision to depart from Mecca. You see, Imam Hussein like comes back down to earth again. He's up there in the sky. He's in the heavens somewhere, as if. Then he notices his brother is hurt, is upset. He comes back down, says, yes, I'll do what you said. As a matter of fact, that's what I had in mind as well. Me, my brethren, sons of my brother, my followers have all prepared for this journey. Their affair is my affair. Their decision is my decision. As for you, you are not to come with me, Muhammad bin Hanafiya. I want you to stay here, be my agent in Medina. Send me information. Keep me updated as to what they're doing and plotting against me, the Bani Umayyah. Because you know, There are some who will criticize Muhammad bin Hanafiya for not going to Karbala with Imam Hussein. Those who argue against it, they'll use a line like this. They'll say, see, Imam Hussein told him to stay, so why scold him? But yeah, there are other reasons as well. I'm just letting you know that, hey, this is history, brothers and sisters. History isn't going to look at you and say, what's going to make you feel better? It's not like that. History is merciless. History, there will be differences of opinion on it. There will be big debates and discussion. Sometimes you want something to be a certain way, but the facts point in another direction. That's history. History is tough. Anyway, in this account, Imam Hussein says, I want you to stay. I want you to be my spy over them. Let me know what they're doing, what they're plotting against me. And so he bids his brother farewell here. He's going to have another dialogue with him as well. We'll cover that too. But it says, as the Imam leaves his brother for the grave of the Prophet. Remember yesterday I said he went to the Prophet's grave a lot in this distance. In this time between them asking for bay'ah and him leaving Medina, he would go to the grave of the Prophet a lot. It says that he went to the grave of the Prophet after this dialogue he had with Muhammad bin Hanafiya. And he starts reciting something, which shows he went back into that mode again. Imam Hussein, let's say, what's the word for it? He was dissolved and annihilated in Allah. In the face of Allah. In the existence of Allah. Imam Hussein, brothers and sisters, I said this the other day too. There's poetry about him and how the jinn came to his help on Ashura. They came to help him. And as they broke through the lines of the angels and the jinn, and they came and they said, oh Master, we're here to help you on Ashura. Imam Hussein opened his eyes. He said, you're here to help me? You just got it. I was in touch with above. I was in touch with Allah right now. I was talking to the beloved. All these tragedies and calamities, they say, that came upon Imam Hussein, he gets more nurani, more light, more light. It's going up, it's going up. This discussion you started with me, O jinn who have come to my help, thank you, but I'm somewhere else. A Husseini is lost in the existence of Allah. It takes time though, brothers and sisters. A Husseini, every day of his life is Husseini, not the 10 days of Muharram on Ashura day. It's easy to say Labbaik Ya Hussein. It's easy. 365 days, how much are you listening to Allah? Imam Hussein was lost in the existence of Allah. Here on his way back to the grave of the Holy Prophet, he goes back into that mode again. Like the default is me and Allah. That's his default. And he's reciting poetry. I'm going to read the translation. I'm going to read the translation for you. This poetry has to do with the story of a shepherd and how he was going to be ambushed. And how this shepherd says, I don't care if I'm going to be ambushed. I'm going to be a man. I'm going to stand for what's right. He uses that poetry for himself. Applies it here. He says, I'm not afraid of the shepherds at daybreak and when give my hand. Don't call me by my name anymore. In Kunt, Ibn, brothers and sisters, look at our culture. And then when I say our culture or the culture that we're in, I'm not talking about America or Iran. I'm talking about the culture that worships the dunya. That can be back in some part of the world that is a Muslim state. It can be here. Doesn't matter. If my culture is a culture that gives primacy to dunya, that is a problematic culture. The culture that we're in right now versus the culture of Islam. Islam to reach that mode. When something you want, you go out of your way for it. So that you reach insaniya, humanity, a real human being, insan. Right now we have our carnal desires. We have animal within us. We have some light of Allah within us. The more we take care of the light of Allah within us, by fighting those carnal desires that are forbidden, not the permissible ones, the forbidden ones, the more we climb the ladder of insaniya and we turn real insan. Or else we are a two-legged haywan. This is Islamic culture for you. And then now look at what our culture here will give us. Now, once again, I don't have any problem with sports. Hey, I'm pretty good at it myself. Right? But I want to give you guys an example. Here, for example, in football, the guy, the more successful he is, the more of an animal he is. Yo, that dude, oh my, beast mode, oh my God, beast. Okay, so now, my goal is to be a beast. He's an animal. Animal? No, I thought we were aiming for something. Well, that's that Islamic culture aims for insaniya. But other cultures aim for beast. Animal. You guys have probably seen those video clips of the guy, he thinks he's a transformer. He thinks he's Optimus Prime. He actually wears a costume or something that transforms him into a car. At least be an animal, not a car. Just today on social media, I saw a little clip of like some basketball thingy. And excuse me for using this word, but it had said, and I'd never seen this word be used for like someone who's good at basketball. This guy's a dog. Wow. This is what we get. It's coming, brothers. This is coming at us, you know? Subconsciously, subliminally, it's coming at us. We're taking it in. A person will be immune from all of this who throughout their day is aware of the wajib and haram of Allah and keeps watching and observing them. If we let go of that, we're not going to be immune anymore. We're prone to all of this. It'll come, it'll penetrate through our hearts. Here, Imam, he goes into that mode again as he's going to the grave of the Holy Prophet. This is the dialogue, the first dialogue between Imam Hussein and his brother Muhammad bin Hanafiya. Lots of lessons come out of this that was mentioned. Recite a salawat, please. But even more importantly is what the second dialogue that he has, which isn't, it's not really a dialogue. He is entrusting his brother Muhammad now. Maybe maybe there's like 2-3 days of time between these two encounters. He is actually writing a will and giving it to Muhammad bin Hanafiya now. In other words, he is letting everybody know, hey, if you ever want to know why I did what I did, I'm going to say a lot of things between Medina and Karbala, yeah. But when I write it down, that is super official. With a ma'soom, anything he says is also super official. But for those of the people out there who don't see him as ma'soom, for those out there who might want to even accuse him of something false and false intentions, I'm going to write something so that everyone knows what I was after. So it says, he wrote a will to his brother Muhammad bin Hanafiya to keep. And in it he says, there's two parts to this. The first part are his beliefs. He's letting everyone know what he believes in. Second part, letting everybody know why he did what he did. He says, this is what has been willed by Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam to his brother Muhammad, renowned as Ibn Hanafiya, known as Ibn Hanafiya. Verily Hussein bears witness that there is no Lord except Allah alone. We're going to the basics, you see? It's all about the basics. And bears witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is the slave and the messenger of Allah, who has been righteously chosen by him. And that paradise and hell are truth. Imam Hussein, come on, these are the basics in the Quran. Everyone believes in these. Imam Hussein will look at me and he'll say, listen, a time will come, they'll say, I had left the religion. Till today, you'll see a Wahhabi cleric, the Grand Mufti of Saudi, he'll say that, yeah, the bay'ah and the allegiance to Yazid was a bay'ah shar'iyya. It was a legitimate bay'ah. It was a binding bay'ah. He won't say the rest because, you know, we'll get up right and just go up to him, just beat him up. But the rest is clear that if it's a legitimate bay'ah, what does that mean? That means you shouldn't have done what you did, Imam Hussein. You were wrong in what you did. If someone says these are the basics, why is he saying these things? Because of these people till today. Now, if he hadn't said these things, oh, multiply it by thousands. Now you'll have a couple of them here and there that say something like that. But it would have been much worse. He says, paradise and hell are truth, and without a doubt the day of resurrection will come, and Allah will arise all those who are buried in their graves. That's the part about his beliefs. I have not risen, the famous lines. لم أخرج أشرا ولا بطرا ولا مفسدا ولا ظالما. Oh, people know, when I rose, I wasn't messing around. أشرا ولا بطرا, for mischief and out of arrogance. I didn't rise because of these things. Some people, the only reason they'll have trouble with a governing body is their arrogance. It happens all the time. The only reason why they stand up is arrogance. The only reason they won't accept Islam is arrogance. There's a story in the Eid al-Ghadir. Now, of course, the Shia school will believe it, but the other schools won't believe this story. And it has to do with Surah, I forget the name, the title of the surah, but it starts with سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. If anyone can find that while I'm speaking, that would be nice. سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. Someone asked for a punishment that's to come right away. Some people ask, what's this story all about? سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. The hadiths tell us that on the day of Ghadir, when the Prophet took the hand of Imam Ali, introduced him, took bay'ah, all those things, one person just couldn't bear it. Like, Ali? Really? Ali is like in his 30s. Think about it, brothers and sisters. A person like my age right now becomes Khalifa. Like the older uncles, I don't think you guys would like that. Right? Or like one of you younger guys, 18-year-olds, comes up here and lectures and I have to sit down and listen, and then it turns out you're much better than me too. I'm not going to like that. It says a person, Yawmul Ghadir, just couldn't take it. Oh Prophet, you're telling me Ali is Khalifa? I have to follow him? Is this from God? What's going on? If this is the case, man, let a stone come from the sky and just hit me in the head. And سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. Yes, it happened. And that person died on the spot. And the tafsir of these verses, you'll find this story. What's wrong with this dude? What's wrong with him is he has this arrogance. He just can't accept it. We have hadith on the Day of Judgment. A couple of those guys in Saqifa, when they are in the bottom, lowest pits of Jahannam and they're burning, a little breeze will come. And they'll ask, like, what was that? They'll say that was Ali, like, passing somewhere and like a little bit of a breeze reached you and like you felt it. They're like, if it's from Ali, we don't want it. Keep burning us. This arrogance sometimes and takabbur is so strong that it burns so much inside that you're like, hey, let me burn outside but not burn inside. If we don't take care of this arrogance now and let it grow and grow, or the jealousy that sometimes we have, it'll grow into a monster within us. And we're willing to burn on our outside but not let it burn inside of us. How do we fight it? If we continue to listen to Allah day in and day out, slowly we will believe that He is everything. I could care less what others have to be jealous of them. I'll believe that Allah is the greatest. That's why I'm listening to Him so much. I'll be convinced. My soul will be convinced that He's so important because I'm listening to Him so much. I won't have arrogance anymore to others because I already broke myself for Allah. What arrogance? I don't even exist as if. That's how low I am already. Mission accomplished. Arrogance sometimes causes you to rise. Imam Hussein says, that's not why I'm rising. Yazid took over. I'm older than him. My status is better than his status. My blood relation with the Prophet is much more than his. He's a very, 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 very distant cousin because he's from Quraysh. He's from Bani Umayyah. We're also from Quraysh. But I'm the son of the daughter of the Prophet. Sometimes some might think that, oh, Imam Hussein was upset. He was jealous. He says, I didn't rise for any of these reasons. In other words, in a nutshell, I wasn't messing around. I was keeping it real. There was a real thing happening that I was after. Nor to spread corruption and oppression. Then what? Okay, so that's not why you have risen. Oh, Aba Abdullah. What is the reason now? You negated all of these things, but what is the reason? He says, I have left for the purpose of the reformation of the ummah and the nation of my grandfather. How? How are you going to reform? What's your tool? I desire to enjoin good and forbid evil. That's what I'm after. There is no other way. I cannot allow Yazid to have my bay'ah. So I'm getting up. I'm letting everyone know that there's a problem here. I'm letting everyone know that, hey, how did Yazid come to power? Because of his father. How did his father come to power? Because of so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. There was a problem. The system is flawed. If the system wasn't flawed and it wasn't fixable, I wouldn't have done what I did. I'm letting everybody know there is a cancer tumor that you can't do anything about anymore. You can't just fix it. You have to cut it off. It's going to hurt. It has to be detached somehow. Talab al-islah, reformation, to make things better, make things go back to normal again. That's what I'm doing. Thus, the one who accepts, and forbid evil and to follow the footsteps of my grandfather and father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Thus, the one who accepts this truth through me has accepted the truth from Allah, while the one who betrays me, I shall forbear. Brothers and sisters, sometimes you know something's right, and you're telling people, hey, come. But they don't come. There's something going on, we have to get in the way of it. They're not there for you. Okay, what are you going to do now? You going to give up? Of course not. Why? Because Imam Hussein didn't give up. He says, those who come with me, good for them. Those who don't come, I will forbear until Allah judges between myself and the oppressive people. And verily Allah is the best judge. This is the testimony to you from me, O brother. And my tawfiq and success in what I am embarking on is with Allah alone. I don't know about you guys, but aren't you feeling like Imam Hussein is actually waving goodbye to all of us? He's going. He's starting this journey. Every year you feel like maybe he's not going to do it this time. But the Muslim Ummah had become so off track, Imam Hussein has to. What do I get out of this, brothers and sisters? He says, I'm leaving to fix things up a little. Reformation. Reform. That means that even if they weren't asking me for allegiance, apparently, can we conclude? I don't know. You guys think about this, inshallah. Can we conclude that even if they hadn't asked him for bay'ah, he would have still risen, because now he's adding. He's adding to the reasoning. Before it was, hey, they're after my bay'ah, I gotta leave. I'm not gonna give bay'ah. Now he's saying, I'm after bringing reform. There's more now. Through my not giving bay'ah, or maybe even if they hadn't asked me for bay'ah, I would have still said, hey, what's going on? Has the pulpit of Rasulullah gone that low that a sharibul khamr, fasiq, mu'linun bil-fisq, qatilun nafs al-muhtarama, all these that we covered the first night, he can sit on the pulpit of Rasulullah? I have to say something anyway. Well, Imam Hussein, why didn't you say something during Muawiyah's time? 20 years. Muawiyah was doing his thing. You didn't say anything. That's where we find out that things aren't as black and white sometimes as we would think. We have a problem, brothers and sisters. I might talk about this more tomorrow too. We have a problem. You have extremism everywhere. Even when it comes to following the footsteps of Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein was in a certain situation that dictated that Karbala happens. What about the other Imams? How come they didn't do what Imam Hussein did? Sometimes we have to identify first before we just go all out, Allahu Akbar. Sometimes we have to identify when it's to be done. Sometimes it's something that Imam Hassan did. Sometimes it's something that Imam Sadiq did. Imam Sadiq educated. That was his way of fighting. True, if they had given them the reins and the time was right, he would have taken the reins of rule. But he didn't eventually. He didn't sit stagnant and do nothing either. But he figured out what he needed to do to contribute to society, and he did. You got to be careful about that a little bit. I'll talk more about that inshallah tomorrow night. One more thing I want to talk about is reform. There are different forms of reform. Sometimes reform comes with Imam Hussein's blood being shed. Sometimes, and usually that's not the case though. As a matter of fact, when you read the hadiths, you hear the ulama, you get this feeling that Imam Hussein's thing was something that happened and no one should try to do anything like him. And the Imams would tell others like Zayd, Yahya, Hussein ibn Ali, Shaheed al-Fakh, tell them, hey, now's not the time to try to pull off something like Imam Hussein. But they still did, and they became Shaheed. reform, at least in this day and age, I think, and this is also something you guys can think about. We can agree, we can disagree. Inshallah, think about it. Comes with education. Reform without education isn't going to help. You make a change, things are going to go right back to where they were. Sometimes you have a charismatic individual spearheading something. As long as that person is there, it's working. After that person is gone, people go back to their old ways. Oh, do we have any examples for that? Yeah, Prophet's time. Prophet passed away. Lots of people went back to their Jahiliyyah times, to the extent that we have hadith that everyone went away from the religion except a few after Rasulullah. Why? People would sit next to the Holy Prophet and they would say, Hadithni or Kallimni Ya Rasulullah, and they stretch their legs in front of the Prophet, pointing towards the Prophet. Talk to me, tell us stories. People like that, and then we have people today who never saw the Prophet, but they understand what the Prophet was all about. They appreciate the Prophet. What's the difference? What's the active ingredient here? Active ingredient is up here. If any reform is going to be brought about, it seems that the first and most important step is to educate ourselves. How much do we know about Quran? I said this the other night too, in the other lecture, that we have so many house majalis in Muharram and Safar. In the 2 months and 9 days, some communities might have 300 to 400 house majalis. About like 100 just in the first ashra. Okay. Oh, Sheikh is, walking. Sheikh, you're walking on eggshell. Be careful. No one's saying that 300 should become 299. As a matter of fact, I'm here to tell you, 300 should become 1,000. But the 700 extra should happen throughout the other 10 months to learn Islam, to research Quran, learn Quran. Imam Hussein did everything for Quran. How much do we know Quran? And then we have someone who doesn't believe in the imamat of the imams, who knows more Quran than us. And when I say Quran, not just reciting it, everything that's related to the Quran. People take a step for education, deeper education, Islamic education. No one's there to help them. No one's there to fund them. But then they're willing to fund the majalis. No, fund the majalis and fund everything else also. Imam Hussein, at the end of the day, if I'm going to be a Husseini, if I'm going to go somewhere where I see the name of Imam Hussein, next to it, reform has to be there. Straight up. Why? How dare you say that? Because Imam Hussein said it, not me. He said, I'm doing what I'm doing, لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ. I'm after reform. Nowadays, he did the hard job, brothers and sisters. Nowadays, for me, the struggle is, how much am I willing to put some time? How much am I going to take time out of my schedule, my very busy schedule of video games? Right? How much am I willing to take out of that, and dedicate a little bit of it to learning? There's so much stuff online now. I've seen people that haven't been to Hawza, they know more than me because they're reading so much. I'm just kidding though, but I'm just saying, they know a lot, mashallah. And there are people who do know more than Hawza visiting. Yeah. Why? All they do is read. There's so much online now. So much stuff has been translated. I was speaking to one of the brothers before the program. I was like, before, if there was someone who could speak English, lecturing somewhere, people would drive for hours to see them, right? I don't mean anything here, right? I don't mean like you guys should come to see me or anything. I'm just saying, back then it was like that. Now, they're like, should we go here? Should we go there? This one does it like this, that one does it like that. I don't like his style. Sheikh, never, that kind of thing, Now we can pick and choose. MashaAllah, barakat has come. YouTube, everything. We just have to take some time out, schedule, be organized, manage our time a little bit, learn. Imam Hussein did everything for Islam to survive so it reaches us. And I'm like, Imam Hussein, I'm going to keep your memory alive. But the Islam part that you wanted to keep alive, alhamdulillah, you took care of that. Inshallah, Allah gives us tawfiq to understand the movement of Imam Hussein. Understand what was important to him. Understand that the Quran was important to him. Understand that amal, taqwa, wajib, haram, these things are what he stood for. We keep his memory alive so that Islam can remain alive. He did what he did to keep Islam alive. Inshallah gives us tawfiq to learn more, educate ourselves more, teach ourselves more, teach others more, read more. And that's not enough. Then act upon all of that so that we also climb the ladder of insaniyya and reach that point where the Imam wanted us to reach. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.